If there is any love in this world that's so immense it borders on the unbelievable, you'd have to say it's a mother's love, right? Today, I want to share with you a story just like that. That year, the state's largest art competition was held in a prestigious gallery in the heart of New York City, a promised stage for young talents and a gentle symphony of contemporary art. Hundreds of canvases, each brimming with creativity, passion, and ambition, arrived at the exhibition room. The rules were strict. Any topic was welcome, but every entry had to be accompanied by an original sketch, a detailed artist profile, and above all, a signature carved in the corner, a declaration of both authorship and the artist's creative claim. On the crisp autumn morning of the opening, a rough, humble wooden crate was delivered. Inside was an oil painting, utterly anonymous. No signature, no introduction, no title, no history, just a simple, almost defiant line for the October Art Contest. The organizers, veterans who'd weathered countless art seasons and their share of artistic shocks, were genuinely perplexed. This was highly unusual. But that was when the real story began. By all accounts, the painting should have been disqualified for breaking the rules, and yet, the painting itself was breathtaking. It captured a quiet street corner in America at dusk, the golden sunlight slanting across the eaves of a small wooden house, a boy sitting alone on worn stone steps, an old bicycle leaning against a white picket fence in the distance. Nothing grand, nothing spectacular, yet the entire canvas seemed to tremble with an undeniable authenticity, a stark, haunting truth. It was as if the artist hadn't painted with colors, but with memory itself, saturating every shade and shadow with a feeling so deep it seemed to ache. A fleeting moment, preserved with such delicate tenderness that it echoed in the soul of anyone who saw it. The jury, a panel of seasoned critics and renowned collectors from across the United States, people who had seen countless technically perfect but soulless works, found themselves caught in a dilemma they had never faced. Arguments flared, voices echoed in the hushed gallery. How could they possibly award a painting that defied all established rules and conventions? Yet the quiet power of the piece was undeniable. It spoke in a language that transcended every rule, a pure, unfiltered, emotional language. After many heated debates, a bold decision, brave as the painting itself, was made. The nameless masterpiece would be given the highest prize. And so, the unsigned painting, a mystery wrapped in beauty, took the place of honor at the show, drawing admiring gazes and whispered confusion throughout New York's art scene. Rumors spread like wildfire through the city, out to the suburbs, even to distant art schools in the West. Who was the artist? Why did they choose to remain anonymous? A year later, in a modest apartment 40 miles outside the city, in a quiet suburban neighborhood, a young artist was tidying up his old studio. He once dreamed of a life filled with color, brushstrokes, grand canvases, exhibitions, and applause. He was an art student, but after an unexpected accident left him in a wheelchair, the weight of expectations and the grind of self-doubt slowly eroded his confidence, forcing him to give up everything, his studies, and even his dream of creating art for the world to see. Rummaging through old, dusty boxes, he uncovered a forgotten treasure, stacks of sketchbooks, and there, tucked away among countless unfinished ideas, was the original draft of the prize-winning painting. He froze, his hands trembling as he traced the familiar lines, the bare bones that had once sparked a masterpiece he never dared claim. A cold fear, then a gentle wave of realization washed over him. He had never sent in that painting. He hadn't even finished it. He had never truly believed it was beautiful enough to be seen. And then a tender memory, like an old lullaby, returned. His mother, a woman whose quiet, unwavering love always placed his happiness above all else. She would quietly clean his room, sometimes take a few sketches, slip them into plastic sleeves, and keep them as precious mementos. She didn't know anything about contest rules, signatures, or artist portfolios. She only knew one simple, steadfast truth. Her son had created something beautiful, and the world, whether it knew it or not, deserved to witness it. It was an act of silent faith, a desperate gamble of love that pushed his work from the shadows into the bright light of recognition. No one ever learned the artist's name. The young man never claimed it. His mother, the silent architect of that triumph, had passed away before the results were announced. But from that day on, he began to paint again, not for recognition, not for praise, but because at last he believed. He believed in the quiet power of his art and in the steadfast faith of the one person who had seen his light before he dared see it himself. He understood that sometimes the greatest masterpieces aren't signed by the artist's own hand, but by the unwavering love of someone who dared to believe in you, even before you believed in yourself. That is the deep truth that resonates from the nameless painting. Sometimes, what allows us to be seen is not extraordinary talent, but the quiet, unshakable love of someone who dared to believe in us before we ever believed in ourselves. There are people who will stand quietly in the wings their whole lives just so you can step into the light, if only for a moment. And their love is the truest signature, the most enduring masterpiece.